My fiancé's left me at the altar. Now he's begging to come back after seeing who I became. I stood in a $5,000 wedding dress while my maid of honor read me the text. I can't do this. Tell everyone I'm sorry. 6 years of love, erased in 12 forms from a man who couldn't even face me. 3 hours earlier, Mark had kissed me goodbye after our rehearsal breakfast. Next time I see you, you'll be walking down the aisle, he'd said with what I thought was love in his eyes. I later learned he'd already packed his car. I walked into our venue alone to face 200 guests. My voice shook as I said the words I still hear in nightmares. There won't be a wedding today. My best friend Ava didn't leave my side for the next week. While I lay curled in bed, she fielded the flood of pity texts and handled canceling our honeymoon. When I finally showered after 4 days, she'd already packed his things into boxes and moved them to his mother's garage. You don't need closure from him, she said, handing me a mug of tea and a legal pad. You need a plan. The plan started with the unused honeymoon fund, $8,700 that was supposed to take us to Greece, but instead became the seat money for what Ava called my revenge glow up. Not physical revenge, though the gym membership helped. This was deeper. I'd spent 6 years molding myself around Mark's life, his friends, his goals. I turned down a dream job in marketing because he couldn't relocate. I'd set aside my passion for photography because he said it took too much of my time. Ava's plan was simple but radical. Become the woman he prevented you from becoming. I accepted that marketing position. I moved to a tiny studio apartment in the city. I took weekend photography workshops and started an integratum showcasing urban architecture. I made new friends who knew nothing about my almost marriage. Slowly I stopped crying myself to sleep. Then I stopped thinking about Mark daily. Then weekly, a year passed. My intro can follow in bird to 75K. The marketing firm promoted me twice. I dated casually but protected my heart fiercely. Then came the email from Mark's personal account. I've been following your success. Can we talk? I didn't respond. 3 days later, flowers arrived at my office with a card. I made the biggest mistake of my life. Please give me 5 minutes. I sent back a single text, "Why now?" His response came immediately, "Because I finally understand what I threw away. You've become everything you always said you could be, everything I was too insecure to support. I was afraid of being left behind by your success, so I left first. I agreed to coffee moss not for reconciliation, but for closure. I needed to look him in the eyes as a different woman than the one he'd abandoned. He looked smaller somehow sitting at that Marsha table. His eyes widened when I walked in, taking in the confident stride that had replaced my people-pleasing shuffle. You look incredible," he stammered. "I'm incredible," I replied, sitting down. "And I was incredible then too, you just couldn't see it." He pushed a small box across the table. Not a ring box, but familiar. Inside was the memory card from our first vacation together. "I kept thinking we can get back to this," he whispered. For a flittering moment, I remembered the happiness in those photos, the girl who believed in forever, the man I thought would be my always. "Tears, no going back," I said, leaving the memory card untouched. "I am not angry anymore, Mark, but the woman who loved you doesn't exist now. She became me instead." His eyes filled with tears. "Can't we try?" I changed too. I placed money for my untouched coffee on the table and stood. "That's the difference between us. I didn't change by. I became who I always was when you weren't standing in my light." Walking away from that nestor, I felt no triumph, no vindication, or just peace. Some lessons cost everything to learn. Your self-worth isn't tied to someone else's ability to recognize it. Abel was waiting at my apartment with wine and takeout. "How do you feel?" she asked cautiously. Pi smiled, really smiled, like I finally stopped waiting for an apology I don't need anymore. "Some people teach you about love by showing you what it isn't. I am grateful for both the lesson and the liberation."